What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And anytime I get the opportunity to try and showcase the shooter characters in Pirate Rumble, I absolutely love to do it. Now, I will say that what you're seeing in this video, this is my own personal team and stuff. I am missing still some pretty key characters that I think would make the shooter team a lot better. And those characters would be something like Memories Frankie, I think has some good uses in shooter teams, as well as Raizo and Shinobu, I think are a fantastic unit for shooters, for utility, and also doing really solid damage. But this video is dedicated to Kid, the new versus Kid character, and I really do think that this is a great addition to shooter teams. I think he is a mainstay in shooter teams, mainly due to his pretty solid rumble ability, but also his special. His special is what shooters needed. Shooters needed some big damage dealers, and especially some characters that can do some damage through defense. Now, while it's not perfect, it's still a lot better than whatever shooters had going for them at this current point in time. As for the characters surrounding, we've got S-Bear, who is just a phenomenal character, again, pretty much a mainstay in shooter teams at this point. I'm using Uta just to help charge our specials a little bit faster. Ace at the moment for me is a mainstay because he's another very good damage dealer. We did have Iron on the front line, which can help us with halving stats of the opponents, and it is guaranteed. It targets 3 characters with high HP, so it is guaranteed half stats, and she does have a very good rumble ability as well. I'm also a big fan of this rumble rare recruit Kizaru. Obviously, it means that we can't use Legend Kizaru or any other type of Borsalino, but I'm a huge fan of him. He does a lot of damage too, so I put him as the first character on the front line. But also on the bench, we've got Kuma and Sakazuki, both of which are 20 cost characters. Kuma, of course, does boost strength characters, which we do have Kid and also Sakazuki, which makes a bit of sense. Sakazuki does boost strength, dex, and quick, so those 2 units on the bench are just buffing Kid just across the board, which is the whole goal of this video. We're trying to do as much damage as we possibly can here. And as we're seeing with the shooter team here, it is getting down to the wire versus this S-Bear team. Things are looking a little dicey right now, but you know, things pull through. Obviously, having S-Bear to continuously knock out something, which is really powerful, and just hoping we can get that Kid special to launch to do absurd amounts of damage. When that Kid uses the special when there's less than 40 seconds remaining, he does target 3 enemies for 1.5 damage through defense, which is massive. And then Borsalino, of course, with the continuous hits of damage too. So luckily, we did get the job done versus the S-Bear challenge, which honestly is a really difficult challenge comparatively. Moving on to our secondary fight versus the Egghead Chopper challenge. This one I do think is a relatively difficult challenge because you've got characters that can basically supercharge some really annoying characters on the opponent's side of the field. You've got that Pudding, of course, which can charge the specials of Gecko Moria, Yamato, and then obviously S-Hawk, which is one of the most annoying characters to go up against in Rumble. Just does absurd amounts of damage through defense at such a low cost, and then the low special CT as well. But having the halving of stats with Yamato and Moria can obviously be a huge issue. In terms of what Kid is providing to the team though, he does give shooter characters 6 attack, 6 health, and 6 speed, which is nice. Shooters didn't have like the best speed out there, so it's nice that he does do that. And then if you have 5 or more shooters on the crew, he gives himself level 6 attack and level 4 special CT increase. So that's fantastic. If you run him on a shooter team, he gets very high attack. He's giving himself level 12 attack just by himself. And then if you have those 5 shooters as well, getting level 4 special CT increase, which is fantastic synergy with the Uta, which can give further special CT increase, totaling to level 7. And then of course, if you use the Uta special, reducing the CT by 20%, basically allowing Kid to launch his special a lot quicker. What I will say though is that I don't know if Kid is going to be a mainline unit moving forward. Yes, he does do some pretty nice stuff on the front line, but considering his special ability is so good when you use it when there are 40 seconds or less remaining, I think people may opt to just put him as one of the first or either the second character on the bench, so that if worse comes to worse, you can bring in Kid off the bench and start doing a ton of damage. But this is still the main issue that shooters have. They don't have big damage dealing characters, and I think that Kid is going to be one of those characters that you can kind of abuse to do as much damage as you can in the early game, though he definitely is better in the late game. Another character that you could potentially put on this team is Fujitora and Borsalino, but if you do that, it does mean you have to take out the Rumble Borsalino. Remember, don't run any int characters on your team because that will disable some of S-Bear's actions, so you do have to keep all of that in mind when you're building a team.
私はボニー。敵だ。覚えとけ。
俺はエース。最後の首を取りに来た。
Moving on to our third challenge is going to be up against the Kawamatsu PvP challenge, and I did actually try against the S-Hawk challenge, and it didn't really work too well, I will say. Maybe if you change up the team a little bit, potentially with Raizo and Shinobu, being able to severely debuff the opponents might actually make a little bit of difference. But you'll see that when we get in this video right here, this clip, we only just won, like literally barely. So the fact that this team could only just get over the line against this challenge, yeah, I just feel like shooters are just not the way to go if you're up against a slasher-focused team. Slashers are just that strong, that fast, and have that huge damage through defense, health cuts. It's just really, really tough for shooters to combat against that. If shooters had a lot more special CT, I think that would really, really help them out with being able to launch their specials, you know, like potentially using S-Bear a lot faster, using Uta a lot faster, which ultimately makes everyone else a lot faster on the team as well. So, yeah, I really don't think that shooters are going to be the way forward against slasher teams. Slashers are still probably some of the best teams in the game, either easily in the top 3 for sure. The team that I showcased with the Divine Departure Shanks was phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen that showcase for Shanks in Pirate Rumble, make sure to go ahead and check out the YouTube channel. But still, even though it was a little bit of a dicey finish to this game, we did end up pulling out the victory, which is the main thing, of course. So I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip up against these slashers, and then we'll talk more once we get to the final clip of the video. So having a look at our final clip is going to be versus Pell. Now the main reason why I chose this one is because shooters have always struggled against this challenge. Shooters have always had a very severe lack of damage output. So I was wondering, maybe with this current team setup, how is it going to go against this one? You know, you've got characters on the opposing side like Queen, an extremely tanky character. Also, Monkey D. Luffy, you gotta absolutely put respect on Luffy's name with the revival mechanic that he gets access to. Rob Lucci also can be a bit of an issue. He does do some pretty solid damage output, albeit this is the old versions of some of these characters that don't have their super evolutions yet. But luckily, we use the S-Bear to knock out or to force out the Rob Lucci a little bit early, so we don't have to deal with his special quite yet. And then we also have Dalton launching his special, and he definitely can be a bit of a problem too. One thing I did notice is that the Pell and Dalton don't have level limit break in this team, so they don't have like the buffed versions of their specials at this current point in time. Here we go with the Iron being able to inflict that halve stats to some of those key characters there, which is good. Luckily, the Luffy didn't fall below 50%, so he's not going to completely charge one of his allies, which is good to see. Rob Lucci does make his appearance once again, and at this point, you know, we're looking okay. You know, we're taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. The Queen does go ahead and bind that S-Bear, which means that we do have to wait a little bit of additional time before he gets a chance to launch his special again, which does kind of suck. Like, if all characters to get action binded, probably would have wanted it to be someone else except for S-Bear, because he was already ready to go. Would have been awesome for him to come up and then blow away someone for a little bit of time. Rob Lucci doing some pretty good damage there, but we're still riding it out, because even though my opponent's team is very tanky, they don't have like the greatest damage output out there. So Ein comes in and inflicts half stats, which is good. So we have some characters like Ace and Kid, which are ready to launch their specials. Some of those characters have half stats, so this should be the opportunity where we should potentially land some knockouts. Ace with his special here does trigger the revival from Luffy, so any damage from here on out is going to be free game to potentially get some knockouts, and boom, we do get a couple of knockouts there, knocking out 3 characters, and from this point onwards, we are smooth sailing. Yes, there is only 30 seconds left, but remember, when there are less than 30 seconds remaining, everyone gets level 10 special CT tacked on to whatever they have, so launching Kid special again is very, very likely, so I'm not really too concerned. I am feeling pretty good, because I know that Kid special should be able to go again. We got Ace's special, which should go again, and that will secure victory. But hopefully you enjoyed the video, though. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
もどかしいのう。